Hi, welcome back to Balance with Bailey, the podcast where we are figuring out how to balance it all together. It's already 2026. I can't believe we're saying that. The last year has flown by, and I'm so excited to jump into today's episode with you guys. We're being intentional going into 2026, so I want to make sure we're doing it the right way. If you guys haven't listened to last week's episode, I dive deep into our reflection of 2025, looking at our past vision boards, our goals, how things came into fruition, and the goals we met, what we didn't, and taking that pause and the mindfulness, the time to really reflect on the past year so that we can start 2026 off right. I have a whole list of things we're going to talk about today, but today we're starting the new year with intent and bringing a strong start to this new year. So, the first thing that I have is 2026 is the year we're expanding and growing into our dream lives. As many of you know, this past year, I took my pause and really focused in on what I wanted my dream life to be. So, this next year for 2026, I'm giving you all the details, a step by step of how you can do the same with creating your dream life. I really want to be authentic moving into this next year, really raw and genuine. So I'm sharing all the nitty gritty, all the things that worked, all the things that didn't work, and helping you do the exact same thing with your life because this is the year. I know everyone's been saying it's the year of the horse because 2025 was the snake in shedding, and 2026 is moving in to the horse, which is like energy and just full force ahead. So that's exactly what we're doing. So, starting off this episode, I really want to start you guys off with some of the exercises that have really changed my life moving forward into 2026. And the first one is a brain dump. So, grab a piece of paper, grab a pen. If you are in the car or somewhere where you can't sit down and write and journal it out, set a reminder, like a physical reminder in your calendar to do that because if you don't, you're just going to forget and get lost. So set some time aside, set the vibes, light a candle, have some girly pop time, and just journal everything out in a brain dump. It doesn't have to be anything specific. Just sit down and start writing. Write down everything you want to bring into the new year, where you're at right now, what you might be limiting yourself, different areas, your relationships, your goals, intentions, career, family, self love. Like, think about all those different topics over your life and what you think you can be doing better on, like areas you're thriving, areas you're not thriving, just everything and anything that comes to your brain. Set a timer for like 10 minutes and just write. It sounds easier than it is. When I was doing it, I think I got to about minute 5 and I was done, but I still had another 5 minutes. So it was super important to really think about it, and all those extra things, just don't stop writing because after you take that 10 minutes and write everything out, all of the things that you write out, especially in those last couple minutes, are things you necessarily don't think about every day in your life or have even come up like in the beginning versus those things that spring up instantly or automatically. So it's really interesting to take that time to do a brain dump and think about all the things that you wrote down and where your mind kind of went over those 10 minutes. And then after that, and going into your brain dump, you break down the pillars and notice kind of what categories really stood out to you. So, did you write a lot about the relationships in your life, your romantic relationships, your friendships, your family relationships? Was it a lot about your career? Was it a lot about self love, your passions? And kind of take that energy and focus to what really was prominent and the things you didn't write a lot about, and how moving into the new year, how you can thrive in each aspect of those categories and those thought processes you went down, and really thinking, was it all positive things you wrote down? Was it negative? How you can kind of equal out each aspect, because when you look at those different like buckets and sections of your life, it's super important that you don't want to be really struggling in one area and thriving in another. You want it to be pretty equal throughout all. I think when I looked at it, my physical and mental health was a lot higher than some of my passions. I think I've been really overextending myself this past year and really keeping myself too busy to a point where when I looked at it, I was like, okay, I'm thriving in some areas, other areas I'm not. I really want to balance that out in 2026 and kind of figure out how I can create a happy medium in all of it across the board so that I'm not super high in some areas and not in other areas, if that makes sense. But it's super eye opening to get to do that brain dump and then split it up into different categories so that you know which ones need a little bit more help versus other ones that you're thriving in and how you want to take that into the new year. I also think for myself when I was doing this exercise was that being in social media and having my brand be a big part of my life, I have a hard time separating the two versus a lot of my passions I do share, which end up becoming work, like fitness, for example. I really find passion and drive in a lot of the fitness things that I do with Pilates and boxing and just being in a community with a gym. But now that I am a coach and it's a little bit more business and working with Hero Board and Hero Board Pilates launching nationally in February and getting to be really on the back end in the business side of things, it's really important that I continue to have that passion and have that drive with it, along with social media and the podcast and sharing all of those different aspects, making sure that I keep part of it personal and that I'm able to keep that passion through it. And as I journaled and kind of brain dumped, looking into it, moving into the new year, I want to make sure that I have some passions that aren't related to work or that I'm not getting paid to do. And one of the things that kind of came up in that when I was journaling was I grew up dancing. I haven't danced in a long time. And over the holiday break, I went to the Nutcracker and I was like, I love ballet. And funny little side note, my grandma was actually a professional ballerina and my mom was a professional ballroom dancer. So I come from a long line of dancers and I think that's something I really want to get back into. So I signed up for an adult ballet class and it starts later in January of 2026. So I was able to set myself up and really think what's a passion with fitness and kind of movement and creativity that isn't connected to anything else in my life and is something completely random. I'm doing it completely on my own. And I'm super excited to start that and get comfortable being uncomfortable, showing up to a class that I don't know anyone and has nothing to do with anything else going on in my life. But I'm really excited to start that new passion. And I think that's something that everyone should be doing, having that kind of outlet that isn't full of pressure or a pay stub behind it is super important. And making sure that when you do your brain dump and you're really kind of thinking about what you want to bring into 2026, getting rid of limiting beliefs is the hardest part. It's so easy to fall into timelines, to others' opinions, to the past, what has worked, what hasn't worked, thinking that your opportunities are limited or you might not be able to do something based off where you are in your life or the resources that you have. But that brings me into my next exercise. This is my favorite exercise that I've done in a long time. I honestly think I saw it on TikTok. I don't even know where it came from, but I was on a walk the other day and I did this. It's called the It's called the magic wand exercise. So if you had a magic wand right now and you waved it around and you got everything you wanted that you could think of, what would you think of? And it starts with smaller ideas, but I want you to expand those tenfold and get rid of your limiting beliefs. There's no timeline. There's no like other people's opinions. There's just you and what you want and thinking of those ideas and making them tenfold. I think as I was doing this, when I was on my walk, I was thinking about Balanced, the wellness platform, the podcast, and everything that I thought of, just expanding it as far as I could possibly imagine and not limiting myself or my imagination. Everything that I thought of was just big. And the word that I kept gravitating towards was expand and expansion. in whatever way that manifests and comes to life in the next year. I think I'm so excited and really trying to not limit myself in my beliefs and really taking the exercise into every aspect of my life, into money and finances, time, fitness goals, like even social media, and just not limiting myself to numbers or trends. It's such a good exercise. So whenever you have that time, and even if you're on a walk or if you're in the car, this isn't something you have to write down. It definitely helps, but you can do it anywhere at any time and even multiple times throughout the day. If you're just randomly sitting there thinking about something or in the car, think about if you had that wand, what would you do? Where would that take you? And then where are you limiting yourself? Everyone does it. It's kind of our human nature to limit yourself in certain ways and certain times. And how can you get rid of those limiting beliefs? Is it not listening to others as much, getting out of your own head, really taking the time to focus on where you can better yourself, bettering your time management? I know that can be a huge one for people when you're sitting there scrolling for an hour versus reading or journaling, getting out of your own head, not listening to others' opinions. There's so many things that we limit ourselves with that we don't even notice. With social media and where we're at right now, there has never been a time where people are so exposed to others' opinions and people are negative. I think it's just the human mind that it's so easy to think of all the negative things and negativity before you get to the point of listening to the positives and having just a better outlook on certain situations. So I think it's important to really evaluate your life, your mindset, and then where others' opinions are coming into it, and continuing to practice the exercise of the magic wand. And whenever you feel negative or have that little bit of self-doubt, I think it's a super easy way to turn back into that exercise and kind of refresh your mind and think, okay, what's really going well, what's not, and how am I limiting myself? If I could do anything and everything, what would it be and kind of how would that look? Because also your thought process and your mindset, the way you think, really affects your entire life. Like, I think 2025 was a big year for me realizing that. I went into the year taking social media seriously, starting my own brand, and everyone thought I was crazy. Like, I didn't have that many followers on anything. There wasn't any money coming in behind it, and I just decided to go out on a whim and really put all of that effort into myself and decide that I was going to do it wholeheartedly, so authentically putting myself behind it. And it was challenging. I'm not saying it was easy, but really having a positive mindset around it and not letting others affect my mindset made a huge difference. Going into every kind of bump in the road or negative thing that didn't work out, I was like, okay, it's for the greater good. It's a part of the plan. You can't focus on a timeline because you never know when things are going to happen or how they're going to happen. I just know deep down it's going to happen and it's going to work out for me. And that's the most important part. Another exercise that goes hand in hand with that is my ins and outs list. I have my list with me here. As I sat down with my list, I have a column that has all of my ins and all of my outs. I started with my outs because I wanted to get the negative energy out and away from me because we're not claiming that in 2026. For my outs in 2026, we're starting with a strong one, self-doubt. It's the easiest way to fall into a negative mindset, fall into overthinking, and just spiral, honestly. So we're getting rid of it. We're not doubting ourselves. Only self-love, only self-positivity, and whatever self-doubt you have, get rid of it. It's easier said than done, but honestly, the only way to get rid of it is to change your mindset. If you have that doubt, if you have that negative energy, switch that negative thought into something positive. Easier said than done, but definitely something to work on. Another out is others' opinions. To a certain extent, my inner circle, I care about their opinions. The relationships I have in my life, I care about what they say and what they think. But other people, random people on social media, I don't care. And as bad as that sounds, it's easier to have your own thoughts and opinions than let every single person affect your thoughts and your opinions. And again, like the people who have those negative opinions towards you don't know you. You are different to every person you meet. You are a different character to every person you meet. Like no one knows you all the time except for yourself. So it's really important to not care what others think, especially when they don't know you. And I think that kind of brings up hate comments. Like on the Balanced account, we got a hate comment the other day. And instead of being like, oh, like that was so negative, I'm so affected, I was like, okay, so we made it to the point of getting hate comments. Like same thing on my personal account. The videos that get millions of views have the most hate comments, and I would say the most diverse like comment section is because so many people are viewing that and everyone has their own opinions. And I love the hate comments. I don't care about the hate comments because one, you're interacting with my stuff, so thank you. Two, you care enough to comment on my post. So again, they're just giving you their energy and I don't let it affect my energy. So it's just another comment. It's more engaging. So thank you for the hate comments. And I don't let it get to me, especially the bigger you get, the more videos that go viral, the more there's going to be. If you let it affect you now, it's just going to affect you more later down the road. And I'm not claiming that energy. I'm not letting it affect my mental health. So again, keep leaving comments, positive or negative. It's engagement for me, so I don't care. A big one, overworking myself. I am known for doing many things between nursing, coaching, working out, social media, my Botox injections, nurse stuff, all the millions of passions and just things I do on a daily basis, on a weekly basis. I have been overworking myself and overstretching myself. I got really sick after Christmas, and I think that was a wake-up call and my body being like, you need to chill and take a pause and take a moment to relax, because I can't remember the last time I genuinely had a rot day or stayed in bed all day until yesterday. I physically couldn't get out of bed. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to set a positive spin on this. And I didn't do anything. I think I watched Gilmore Girls and I binged the TV show Love Thy Neighbor, which if you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's on Hulu. I watched every episode yesterday. I was in bed the entire day. I got up to drink a Coke and I think that was about it. But it was my body physically telling me it's time. So instead of having to get sick and get to that point, I'm going to stop overworking myself. I'm going to schedule out a rot day where I'm not editing content, I'm not posting content, I'm not planning content, I'm not nursing or coaching or doing anything. I just get a day to myself to not overextend. And with that, it kind of flows into my next one of saying yes to everything and doing the most. I'm going to learn how to say no this year. I know everyone who knows me is probably laughing at that statement because I'm a yes person. I will always say yes to everything, but I think that 2026 is the year that I learn how to say no because I physically can't do it anymore. And whatever isn't an obligation, I'm going to start saying no to. If it's an obligation, I will obviously be there. Coaching, yes. Showing up for the podcast every week, yes. Showing up to my OR nurse job, yes. But if it's not scheduled in my calendar, if it's not something that is serving me, I will be saying no. A big one that I think is super important with posting on social media and being in the fitness industry is seeing others as competition and being a girl. Honestly, as a girl, it is so easy to compare yourself to others and see everyone as competition, which I feel like I don't as much as I used to growing up. But in any form, I will not be seeing other people as a competition. And it's easier to look and be like, oh, they have more followers. Oh, they edit this way. Oh, they thrive in these workouts. They never seem tired. Or they can lift these weights and look so strong. Or they have the cutest workout sets. Or everything just comes so easy to them. That is not the outlook that we as women should have, or people in the fitness industry, or people on social media. You should not be seeing other people's competition. I think something that I do that helps a lot is when I see other people as competition, I switch it into a mindset of, instead of feeling like competition or jealousy, it's taking it as inspiration. So if I'm like, okay, I'm jealous of this person because they have the cutest workout sets. Instead of that, it's, or the workout clothes, like something superficial like that. But switching into the mindset of, okay, I want to start dressing like that. Or I'm taking that as inspiration into my life for, I'm going to work harder in those fitness classes so that I can show up and be an example for someone else. Or social media, not being stressed about the numbers or the followers, but maybe taking inspiration from how consistently they post, what they post, different ideas on how I can use that as inspiration for my content. Not necessarily copying, but changing the mindset into inspiration. And I could honestly go on and on about outs, but we're not focusing on the negatives. And with each of those outs, I had an example of a way that you can bring it into your in column. So for the ins, I'm starting off with my first in of 2026 is being my authentic self. I want to show up for my community, for my social media, for my fitness classes. I want to be authentically myself. I don't want anyone to think I'm fake. I don't want the reputation of it. And I want to show up as genuine as I possibly can throughout my life in every aspect, with the highs, the lows, and showing who I am, where I'm at, the season that I'm in that moment. And I think that's a really good goal for 2026, especially with where the world's at and everything going on. Being authentically myself and also discovering who I am. I think through growth and everything that I'm doing, I will continue to learn who I am and how I can be myself, and showing up in everything that I do, 100%, putting the effort behind it of every podcast episode, every workout class, every event that we do, showing up 100% myself. And my next in is, I literally have one word, but it's expand. As I expand in every aspect of my life, I want to create more, get better at coaching, get better at building my community, showing up in real life the same way that I'm showing up online, just growing, continuing to grow and expand at the rate that I have been, because it's been insane this past year and I want to keep the momentum going. The next one is creating over consuming. I know I am definitely guilty of this, but sometimes I doom scroll and then I look up and I'm like, I've been on my phone for an hour and done nothing but scroll on TikTok and Instagram and social media. So this year, anytime I catch myself consuming more than I'm creating, I will be shifting my mindset into creating something and posting something. I know I saw something on social media forever ago that was, every time you open the app to scroll, you should post something or create something. So I will be taking that into 2026. Every time I open my apps, I will be creating before I decide to consume, and creating before I consume, so that I'm not creating based off of what I'm consuming, but creating what I want to and then consuming and engaging later. I think instead of using the word consuming, I want to engage with other creators, engage with other accounts, other businesses, other people, so that it's more inspirational versus just subconsciously watching others and letting that impact my mindset and my creating. The next in I have is reading. I love reading. I honestly have been in a reading slump. I read all of the Sarah J. Maas series, A Court of Thorns and Roses, Crescent City, Throne of Glass, and I've been in a book hangover since. Throne of Glass took me a year. It's 8 books. It's some serious reading, some serious commitment. And since then, I haven't found anything good enough. I did start the Twisted series and I just got the fourth book. I'm trying not to read it until I go to Mexico next week. But really diving into a book and a series, I love a physical book. So I'm bringing that into 2026. There's nothing like a physical book, turning your phone off, and just diving into hours and hours of reading. And it really forces you to get out of your own head, get out of whatever's going on in your life, and just like enter a story. I'm in 2026, one of my goals is going to be every time I read like a romance book or a fantasy book, I'm going to offset it with a self-help book and switch back and forth between learning something and then also just having a good rom-com book, because that is my guilty pleasure and I will be standing on that going into 2026. I'm bringing that with me. My other one I did have that I did mention before was saying no. Respectfully, I will be saying no to a lot of things. Please don't take personal offense, but if it's not serving me or it's going to overwhelm me or overpack my schedule, I'm going to have to say no. I'm definitely guilty of this in the past, overscheduling myself, saying yes to things when I already had things booked. I will be putting everything in my calendar. Another in. My Google Calendar will be my best friend going into 2026. I will be scheduling everything that I'm doing so that I'm not overworking myself, so that I'm not overstretching myself, because I've done that. And then I'm like, oh, it wasn't in my calendar, so I thought I was free and I'm not. And now I'm running from A, B, and C with no time in between, or like scheduling myself so busy that I'm gone from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and it's just not realistic. It's not healthy and it's not allowing me to show up in the best way and with the best mindset when I do that. So I'm saying no. I'm scheduling things in my calendar and taking time to chill. As excited I am for 2026 and full steam ahead, like running into it, I will be chilling. And I could not be more excited. Another in is I have the word build written down, and I think that goes hand in hand with the expanding. Building everything out on the back end on an operational side so that I have my outlines, I have my schedules, I have my notes, so that when I decide to do things, I'm able to just plug things in and flow into a way where I'm setting myself up for success. I'm not feeling chaotic. I'm not feeling all over the place. I will be able to plug things in and move on. So, really building things out intentionally, not working things up and expanding so crazy that I have to go back and later look into things and look into the operations. I want to set things up the right way, take my time, and really create systems that work, which thank God for Izzy, because she's doing a lot of that because I don't know how to do that. And I'm working on it. But that's where collaboration comes in. My last in is collaborating. I think, in all honesty, my ego is something I'm working on in 2026. I like to do everything myself. I think that if I do it, it will be exactly how I want it in the best way and the best way it possibly can be. And I think that's something that's not realistic. It's not the truth. So I'm collaborating this year. I think Izzy's been a huge help, and a big part of that is delegating, collaborating, and letting other people contribute and not letting my ego and my mindset take over of like, I have to do everything so that it's 100% my way and that it's right. Because again, that's just not true. And I will be letting things go a little bit, where not letting things go completely, but my control of things. And that's going to help so much with my overstretching, overworking myself, because I'll be able to delegate and let others help do things that I need help on, which is going to be just a million times better, tenfold, because also listening to others' ideas and collaborating helps with bringing in so many things I don't think about, and ideas and systems in place, and just so many amazing ways I can learn too. We're continuing to learn. Another in is learning in every way, taking everything as a learning opportunity. It's never a no. It's you're learning and it's a different timeline than you expected, not setting timelines, making sure that whatever happens, it's for a reason. It's going to happen at the right time. And it's never a no, it's just a yes in a different way down the road. So after doing these exercises, doing your brain dump, the magic wand exercise, your ins and outs, and really having it all out on a piece of paper after you write it down with your pen and paper, you really reflect on everything that you wrote down, everything that you want to bring into this year, and then start to think about a word or a feeling you want to take into 2026. I think after all of my reflection, expand is going to be my word of 2026 in all aspects of my life. So create that feeling, create that word, and go into Pinterest. Now is my favorite time for the vision board part is go on Pinterest, really deep dive into the things that you wrote down, the ins, look up each word, look up the vibes, the feelings, the thoughts, and just create a board. Create 2020, like literally title it 2026 vision board and pin all of the photos that are a part of your ins and outs list. And take the time. Like, this doesn't have to be something you do in one sitting. It can be over a couple days. It could be over the next week. There's no rush to all of this. Just because it's a new year, you don't have to rush into creating a vision board and doing everything in one day. So over the next couple days, pin photos that inspire you, that you think would be great on your vision board. Also, look back in your camera roll. I love to take photos that I've taken or photos of myself and put them on the vision board of positive things that I got to do or something I'm looking forward to doing again. And once you have all of those photos on that Pinterest board, something that I do that I think is super important, I like to print them out. If you want to keep it on your phone or keep it digital, you can go on Canva and it has so many great tools of how you can kind of collage it together. But I love printing them out. Walgreens, you can print photos out for like 60 cents. Like, it's literally nothing. Go print out 100 photos. Like, I think last year I had 80 photos and different sizes, whatever. And then you go get a poster board or a Canva board and set the vibes, have a fun night. I've done it with friends before. I've done it by myself, depending on the year. And just light a candle, have some good music playing, and just start to kind of collage the photos together of what you want your 2026 year to look like. It's so much fun. And with those extra photos, you can put them up around your room. You can make two. You can do whatever you want. Like, once you have those photos printed and you know the mindset behind them, it's such a good visualization to have them in person. So then you can create your whoa, that wasn't a word. Once you have all your photos printed, then you can collage them on your vision board and hang it somewhere that you can see it. I put mine on my wall right next to my vanity. It's like right next to my, like across from my bed so I can see it every morning when I wake up. And I think being able to see it is so important. If you have a digital one, put it as your screensaver on your phone, on your computer, somewhere where you're going to see it every day, because I think having it somewhere very visual is you see it every day. It's going to you're going to remember what you're doing it for and all the things that you want to do in the new year, and just every day being able to kind of have that reset, that mindset of, okay, this is what I'm bringing in to the new year. And once you do all of that, it's so fun to get to look back at it at the end of the year. I know I'm so excited for my 2026. I've really been trying not to rush the process. So I'm still on the part of creating my Pinterest board and moving around the pins, pinning different things, making sure that I really resonate with every single photo that I'm going to print out later this week. And going back to my other vision boards, like I have my 2024 and my 2025 still up in my room. I pulled out my 2024 because each year I obviously only hang up the one from that year. But when you have physical copies and you get to save them, you look back over the past year, the past 2 years, all of the things that have happened and you didn't even realize were going to happen in different ways, or they did, or it took 2 years instead of the 1 year. But the different things that happened are so exciting to have those physical copies and save them, put them under your bed, put them in your closet. But getting to reflect is just as important as getting to look ahead. And it's so exciting coming into the new year, really starting with a clean slate. It's never too late to restart. It's never too late to rebrand or create your dream life. Things are always going to change. Life happens and you go through the ups and downs and the different periods, but really taking the time to reflect, create your dream life, and take those daily steps makes such a difference. And with your mindset and going into things with a positive mindset, you will be so surprised at the things that can happen and how close you are to your dreams, expanding them tenfold. And if you think of a dream that's like so far out and like you're like, this would never actually happen, realizing how close you get to that, if it doesn't come true, how close you were to, wow, this was my original goal. Here is where I expanded it beyond my belief, beyond something that I think would ever happen. And then you get to that point, you're like, wow, I only dreamt this big, but this is how big it can actually go. I want you to set some crazy expectations for 2026. Let me know what they are. The DMs are open. The socials are open. I'm also going to post all of the journaling prompts we talked about today so you don't forget. And if you set a reminder to do it later in your week, later in the year, whenever you do them, or if you come back and visit them, you can do these things multiple times. It doesn't have to be just in the new year, but they're all posted on the balanced accounts. I will be posting my own goals and the ways that I use these tools in my own life to create my dream life. And hopefully you do the same to create yours. And we're really going into 2026 with expansion. And I will be taking that word. You will see it so much coming up this next year. Whatever your word is going to be, print it out big on your vision board. And we're just bringing in the most positive mindset, the most insane dreams, and there's no limit to 2026. So I'm so excited to see what we all accomplish together, the balance we find, and I will see you all next week for Balanced with Bailey.